I'm Sabrina Zainal, and you're watching Nightline. The top stories. 6 state assemblies likely to be dissolved by June end. And Ampang LRT disruption to continue till September. Good morning. We begin with this story. The Chief Minister and Menteri Besar of Pulau Pinang, Kedah, Kelantan, Negeri Sembilan, Selangor and Terengganu have all agreed to dissolve their respective state assemblies within the last 2 weeks of June. The understanding was reached by the state leaders during an informal meeting at a hotel in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday. Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Shari, in a Facebook posting, said the decision would now be discussed at the respective party level. He added that the state leaders would then seek the consent of their respective rulers and governors to dissolve their state assemblies. The other 5 state leaders who attended the meeting were Pulau Pinang Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow, Kedah Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Muhammad Sanusi Mat Noor, Kelantan Menteri Besar Datuk Ahmad Yaakob, Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Aminuddin Harun, and Terengganu Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar. As for the date of the state elections, it will be up to the Election Commission to decide. Previously, only Perlis, Pahang and Perak dissolved their state assemblies to hold elections concurrently with the 15th general election on November 19th. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he was still in the midst of putting the final touches on the 2023 budget, which is scheduled to be tabled in Parliament this Friday. The revised national budget will take into account the current economic challenges, while at the same time driving the country's growth and attracting investments. Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, said this to the media when asked about his 2023 budget preparations after attending the closing ceremony of the Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman International Conference at the International Islamic University of Malaysia in Gombak on Wednesday. The Prime Minister also launched 4 books at the same ceremony. Meanwhile, Real Estate and Housing Developers Association REDA has urged the government to give first-time home buyers a tax deduction on interest incurred during the construction period of their property under this year's revised budget. Its president, Dato' N.K. Tong, said the government may also opt to give a 20,000 personal tax relief for these buyers.
For houses below 500,000, you see, when they buy a home, it may take 3 years to deliver. In the meantime, they're paying rent. So if they have to pay the loan back and the interest on that loan during that period, could that interest be used to offset the taxes so that they don't have the burden of sort of paying for 2 houses at the same time?
He was speaking at a media conference after presenting REDA's property industry survey for the second half of 2022 and market outlook for 2023 in Kelana Jaya. Datuk Tong added that the survey showed that property prices may increase this year due to the increase in cost of raw materials and compliance cost. He also called for a review of land provision to build social and community facilities, which currently are not fully utilized. First Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Mazlan, in the meantime, stressed that the revised 2023 budget will include alternative measures to Employees Provident Fund EPF withdrawals to help those in the lower income groups. This was because many contributors from the B40 and M40 groups did not have sufficient savings despite wanting to make more withdrawals.
B40 dan M40 paling terjejas ahli akibat daripada kebenaran pengeluaran itu, dan 67 juta atau 51.5%, separuh daripada 13.1 juta ahli berumur bawah 55 tahun kini mempunyai simpanan 10,000 dan kurang. Jadi ini angka-angka yang tepat dan benar.
The minister told this to the Dewan Rakyat when responding to questions from several MPs on whether the government was considering allowing another round of EPF withdrawals. He added that the government will also look at ways to increase wages so people can contribute more to their EPF accounts. Previously, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the government was opposed to allowing another round of EPF withdrawals over concerns about low savings. Some 8.1 million EPF members have withdrawn a total of 145 billion ringgit in a series of withdrawals during the COVID-19 pandemic. Moving on, the disruption to the Ampang Light Transit Rail LRT line between the Bandaraya and Masjid Jamek stations is set to last until around September. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said this was due to the viaduct and pier structural damage near the Bandaraya station, and the repair work, which will begin in early March, is expected to take up to 7 months.
Hasil siasatan menunjukkan bahawa kerosakan kepada 3 struktur, viaduct dan pier, telah diakibatkan oleh ground movement yang dipercayai daripada kerja-kerja di tapak pembinaan bersebelahan. Seperti yang telah dinyatakan oleh Agensi Pengangkutan Awam Darat pada 27 Januari 2023, kerja-kerja tersebut telah mula dijalankan tanpa sebarang perundingan dengan APAD di bawah peraturan-peraturan kereta api, Zon Perlindungan Kereta Api 1998.
Speaking at a media conference in Parliament on Wednesday, Loke said, based on investigations, the damage to the affected structure posed serious safety risks. He also said his ministry was mulling legal action against the developer after thorough investigations were completed. Loke added alternative transport services had been made available for commuters between the Bandaraya and Masjid Jamek stations since January 27th. He pointed out that once the Putrajaya MRT line was fully opened, Ampang LRT commuters may use the MRT line for alternative routes in the city, such as through interchange stations like Chan So Lin, Titiwangsa, and Sungai Besi. Construction of the East Coast Rail Link ECRL project in Kelantan has exceeded 40% so far. Minister in the Chinese Embassy in Malaysia, Tang Rui, said the progress of the project was encouraging as it will benefit the people of the country and Kelantan. According to Tang Rui, apart from reducing travel time, the project would also provide a better balance to development between the west and east coasts of peninsular Malaysia.
On the whole, I think the East Coast Rail Link has been going smoothly, very well. I hope that this project will benefit the Malaysians, ordinary people. As here we can see, people can take the train from Kelantan, from Kinabalu to KL in just 4 hours, reducing almost half the driving time.
Tang Rui said this at a media conference after visiting the ECRL project site in Kampung Peringat, Kelantan on Wednesday. Spanning 665 kilometers and comprising 59 tunnels, the project involves construction works in 4 states, namely Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang and Selangor, and is designed to be free from floods. Section A from Kota Baru to Dungun and Section B from Dungun to Mentakap are expected to be completed in 2026, while Section C from Mentakap to Port Klang is expected to be completed in 2027. The ECRL is expected to be operational in January 2027. Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, presided over the 261st meeting of the Conference of Rulers at Istana Negara on Wednesday. The last meeting was held from November 29th to 30th last year and presided by the Yang di-Pertuan Besar Negeri Sembilan, Tuanku Muhriz Ibni Almarhum Tuanku Munawir. Before the meeting started at 10:45 a.m., Sultan Sharafuddin took the royal salute at the Grand Guard of Honor at the main square of the palace. The ruler then planted the sepang tree in the palace's garden as a symbol of the Selangor Sultan presiding over the 261st edition of the meeting. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah also witnessed the planting of the tree. The 2-day meeting is being attended by Sultan Nazrin Shah of Perak, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin of Terengganu, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar of Johor, and Al-Aminul Karim Sultan Salihuddin Sultan Badli Shah of Kedah. Pahang is being represented by the Regent of Pahang, Tengku Hassanal Ibrahim Alam Shah Al Sultan Abdullah, while Perlis is represented by Raja Muda Tuanku Said Faisuddin Putra Jamalul Lail, and Kelantan by Crown Prince Tengku Dr. Muhammad Faiz Petra. Also in attendance were the governors of Pulau Pinang, Malacca and Sabah, while Sarawak is being represented by the State Assembly Speaker.
Ubah keutamaan demi kemampanan ekonomi.
Makmur bersama Malaysia Madani, iltizam kerajaan perpaduan untuk rakyat.
Cerakin dampak belanjawan 2023 bersama kami dan penganalisis.
Jumaat 24 Februari
Bermula jam 3 petang
hanya di TV3.
Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has accepted the resignation of Datuk Wan Saiful Wan Jan as the party's information chief effective Wednesday. He said the party would be appointing someone from the Supreme Council to replace him, and the announcement on the matter will be made soon.
Ini satu langkah yang cukup saya hargai, tetapi tanggungjawab itu akan terus nanti akan dipimpin oleh satu ahli majlis tertinggi baru yang saya akan nanti dalam tempoh yang segera. Kerana tugas ketua penangan penting dan kita nak menghadapi pilihan raya nanti. Jadi orang yang akan dikenamakan nanti akan meneruskan kerja-kerja baik yang telah pun dibuat oleh Yang Hormat Datuk Wan Saiful.
Speaking to the media in Parliament on Wednesday, Tan Sri Muhyiddin added that Datuk Wan Saiful's resignation was neither a punishment nor an admission of guilt. Instead, the move was to avoid any misconception towards Bersatu. On Tuesday, Datuk Wan Saiful pleaded not guilty before the Sessions Court on 2 charges of soliciting and accepting bribes amounting to 6.9 million ringgit involving the Jana Wibawa project worth 232 million ringgit last year. If convicted, he faces imprisonment of up to a maximum of 20 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the amount or value of the bribe, or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher. In the meantime, Segambut Bersatu Deputy Division Chief Adam Radlan Adam Muhammad, who was charged with 2 counts of corruption on Tuesday, was slapped with another 2 charges of receiving bribes amounting to 4.1 million ringgit in connection with the Jana Wibawa project at the Shah Alam Sessions Court on Wednesday. The businessman claimed trial to both charges before Judge Rosila Saleh, who fixed April 14th for mention of the case. Adam Radlan was charged with receiving the money from Lian Tan Chuan and Mat Jusuh Mamat through a bank account belonging to Bayu Bumi Raya Sendirian Berhad, of which he is a director. The money was given as gratification to Adam Radlan for helping Nepturis Sendirian Berhad and MIE Infrastructure and Energy Sendirian Berhad to obtain 2 projects, namely the Klang Utara District Head Office, worth 141 million ringgit, and the construction of Jalan Sungai Adam to Kampung Banat Perlis, worth 47.8 million ringgit from the government. The offences were allegedly committed in Petaling Jaya between November 2021 and January this year. The charges under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) Act provides imprisonment for up to 20 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the value of the bribe, or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher if found guilty. The court set bail at 300,000 ringgit with 2 sureties for each charge, and also ordered Adam Radlan to report himself at the MACC office in Putrajaya once a month. The judge also ordered the accused to surrender his passport to the Shah Alam Sessions Court if his other charges in Kuala Lumpur were dropped. Meanwhile, SSH Furniture Sendirian Berhad Director Datuk Teo Wee Cheng was charged at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Wednesday with 9 counts of soliciting and accepting bribes amounting to 12.87 million ringgit in connection with the Jana Wibawa project. Judge Datuk Ahmad Kamal Arifin Ismail set May 17th for mention of the case. Among others, Datuk Teo was charged with soliciting 11.37 million ringgit for the upgrading project of the bypass in Segamat and Kota Tinggi, with a total value of 113.75 million ringgit. He was also charged with receiving bribes from 2 individuals amounting to 1.5 million ringgit as a reward for helping Muar Usaha Bakti Sundiran Berhad to secure the project. The offences were allegedly committed between July 2021 and November last year. The charges under the MACC Act provides imprisonment for up to 20 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the amount or the value of the bribe, or a fine of 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher upon conviction. The court allowed the accused bail of 500,000 ringgit for all charges with 1 surety and ordered Datuk Teo to surrender his passport to the court. Media Prima recorded a net profit of 53.9 million ringgit on the back of 997.9 million ringgit revenue for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Now, this was the group's second consecutive 12 months of net profit, reflecting a 4% increase against the period ended December 31st, 2021. The leading integrated media company saw better advertising revenue from its businesses, posting 748.9 million ringgit for the 12 months. Media Prima's out-of-home business, Big Tree, recorded a net profit of 7.2 million ringgit in the 12 months under review, while Rev Media Group's net profit increased by 46% to 17.5 million ringgit, driven by a 7% growth in advertising revenue. Broadcasting, represented by Media Prima Television Networks and Media Prima Audio, meanwhile, posted a 12 months revenue of 471.6 million ringgit and a net profit of 68 million ringgit. When we come back, Toyota agrees to biggest wage hike in 2 decades. Stay with us.
Budget. Spurring economic growth and investments while protecting the people. Can the budget keep Malaysia's recovery on track? In what ways will the proposal strengthen Malaysia's resilience in the face of continued volatility? Bank Islam's chief economist Firdaus Rosli takes a closer look at Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's first budget on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3. Nightline continues. A United States grand jury that investigated former U.S. President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state said the panel had recommended multiple criminal indictments. The 4-person on Georgia grand jury, Emily Kors, said her 23-member panel had recommended charges against more than a dozen people without naming anyone. Prosecutors have spent 2 years looking into whether the former president and his allies committed crimes in their bid to overturn his defeat in the southern state to Joe Biden by fewer than 12,000 votes. The known targets include Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and 16 Republican activists who posed as presidential electors to sign certificates falsely claiming the 76-year-old Republican had won the Peach State. It was understood that Democratic District Attorney Fani Willis will make the ultimate charging decision after presenting the panel's findings to one of the criminal grand juries regularly empaneled in Georgia's Fulton County. The investigation was touched off by Trump's January 2nd, 2021 phone call with Georgia election officials, whom he infamously asked to find the 11,780 votes that would put him one vote ahead of Biden in the state. Toyota Motor Corp on Wednesday said it would accept a union demand for the biggest base salary increase in 20 years and a rise in bonus payments as Japan steps up calls for businesses to hike pay. Toyota said a deal with the union was struck after the first round of negotiations on Wednesday, adding that the wage increase would also be applied to part-time workers and senior contract workers. The world's biggest automaker had also agreed to a union's request for one-off bonus payments worth 6.7 months of wages. Meanwhile, the union federation representing 357,000 Toyota Group workers had said the base pay rise it had sought was the biggest in 2 decades. The pay agreement comes as Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has stepped up calls on business leaders to accelerate wage increases, warning of a return to stagflation if pay rises fall short of the rapid increase in prices. At least 10 people were killed after al-Shabaab fighters stormed a residential building in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. It was believed that the Tuesday attack began with a car bomb blast, followed by a gunfight that went on for hours at a house in Mogadishu where several lawmakers were believed to be staying. Somalia's information ministry said late on Tuesday that 10 civilians were killed, but did not say who was targeted. However, it added that security forces had killed the 4 militant gunmen involved in the assault. The attack was claimed by al-Shabaab, which is linked to al-Qaeda. Sports, tennis, the 2023 Dubai Championships. Jessica Pegula was at her best as she booked her place in the quarterfinals with a straight-set victory over Romanian qualifier Ana Bogdan on Wednesday.
Third seed Pegula was broken to love in her first service game, but the American reeled off 5 games in succession from 3-love down and saved 3 break points in the 10th game before claiming the opening set 6-4. Both players struggled on serve in the second set, with 6 breaks coming in the last 7 games, but Pegula claimed 4 to Bogdan's 2 as she sealed a 6-3 win and spot in the quarterfinals for the second time in her career. Pegula will meet either 2019 Dubai champion Belinda Bencic or Karolina Muchova in the last 8. Joining her was Iga Swiatek. The impressive Polish chalked up another straight sets victory in Dubai, dropping only 2 games in the 6-1, 6-1 win over Canada's Leila Fernandez. The top seed was scheduled to meet Ludmila Samsonova in the 3rd round. Moving on to football, the FIFA Women's World Cup playoff. Haiti have made World Cup history by reaching the finals for the first time after defeating Chile 2-1 in an intercontinental playoff on Wednesday in Auckland, New Zealand. Melchi Dumornay opened the scoring for Haiti in the first half stoppage time with a fierce drive from a tight angle. Dumornay then put the result beyond doubt in the dying minutes following some poor defending from Chile. Chile managed to grab a consolation goal just before the final whistle as Haiti, ranked 55th in the world, advanced to join England, Denmark and China in Group D at the Women's World Cup. The 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup will take place in Australia and New Zealand from July 20th to August 20th. Kutum leaf smugglers nabbed after high-speed chase. This and more when Nightline returns. Thanks for staying with us. At the Putrajaya Magistrates Court, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, was granted a 6-day remand order against 10 individuals suspected to be part of an international investment scam syndicate, which raked in a whopping 200 million ringgit from victims in Australia and the United Kingdom. Magistrate Muhammad Dini Shazwan Abdul Shukur granted the remand order until February 27th for authorities to carry out their investigation into the case. The suspects, comprising 7 men and 3 women, were picked up in a covert operation codenamed Op Tropicana, held simultaneously at 24 premises in the Klang Valley and Pulau Pinang on Tuesday. The MACC said the syndicate had bribed authorities to enable their operations to continue unhindered since 2019. It was believed that the syndicate had set up 24 companies to lure the victims abroad to park their money in non-existent investment portfolios. The money was then channeled to other bank accounts overseas before finally transferred into the syndicate's accounts. The case is being investigated under the MACC Act. In Kedah, a team of Malaysian Armed Forces MAF personnel nabbed 2 men who were smuggling ketum leaves after the pickup truck they were traveling in crashed near Durian Burung, Padang Terap on Wednesday. District Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Mulkiaman Manzar said the 1 p.m. incident, the MAF personnel were on patrol when they spotted both suspects acting suspiciously in a Toyota Hilux with a Thai license plate. Now, the team followed the Hilux before instructing the driver to stop, but he sped off and a high-speed chase ensued. During the pursuit, the Hilux went out of control and crashed into a ditch, spilling its load of ketum leaves on the roadside. Both suspects who were injured in the crash were then taken to the Kuala Nerang Hospital for treatment before being taken to the Padang Terap Police Headquarters for further action. The amount of ketum leaves and the identities of the suspects are still under investigation.
In Belgium, about 1,000 performers clad in traditional costumes featuring white wax masks and hats adorned with huge ostrich feathers paraded to the sound of drums in Vinci's most famous carnival, the first to be held in 3 years. Let's take a look at the merrymakers as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.